So Rakeb asked me, to perform some pieces focusing on self-reflection, and we've been locked inside, so all we could do was reflect. So these 3 poems are me deep diving into relationships, not only with people, but with food, with work, family, friends, the whole 9. So to start things off, the first poem is called Dichotomy. I left because I didn't like who I had become to be with you, to be around you, to even talk to you. I didn't like that my skeleton became exo, trying to protect myself from the wrath of the arguments I signed up for. Being with you was so exhausting. Running track laps in the mind of your thoughts until my legs were cut off at the knees. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong, but how we feel afterwards. And after some of your words, I was left cut to the bone. But I maintained, never showed how gaping the wound really was. I wondered how many times your fantasy was ruined by my reality, how the thought of one day really played out in your head. When time is nothing more than an unraveling thread, this is not a love story. And I should have just been honest, that I was only here because I didn't feel I deserved a whole heart, that I thought my warmth could thaw out yours, that I just wanted to prove that I could endure, that I could accept, that I could understand the war inside of you, to prove that all people don't switch up, when the truth is we all do. We have to, in order to grow. I wanted to show you that love in itself was real, but how could I, if sacrificing myself was part of that deal? No, I didn't like who I had become, to be what you needed, addicted to being hurt, to being let down, to being stressed out, to thinking that I had to pour out all of me to accept a third of you. The more I tried to see you, the less I could see me. And the vision of us coexisting became a foggy memory, or maybe I don't want to remember. I didn't like who I had to be, just trying to remain open to you, not even choosing me, but finally choosing you. And then I realized you never had the capacity to. And that's what I was for. A place for you to feel good enough, but not so good I deserve to know. So I had to leave me. The me that fought at length to be ride or die, or there when others needed a shoulder to cry. The me who showed up for everyone else but me. I didn't like that I could clearly see who I was becoming and who I used to be. Trying to enmesh them in one world nearly drove me crazy. I was never disappointed in you, only in me. And the person I had to become to be with you while abandoning me. I'm gonna try to follow that thing up. So, this next piece is, relationship, inconsistent people. We don't do that, you know what I'm saying?
We don't.
No, we really don't. So, there's a poem. Oh, nice. You ain't even tell me. All right. There's a poem with this line. When a boy says I love you, he means I am getting ready to be inconsistent with you now. And I couldn't help but think, how are we going to be inconsistent if you don't give him the room? I mean, no, it's not always that simple, because it could mean that he's losing interest, or maybe that his life has been completely upended. The truth is, we only know what a person chooses to tell us. So for our own sanity, it's best to just keep moving forward. Don't get caught up in what could have been like, do you love me or love me not? Confusion and misery are best friends. There is more to life than whether someone chooses you. When half the people we choose have yet to even choose themselves. Is that what you want? Someone who doesn't even know themselves? Inconsistency is oftentimes just a reflection of what we know. Of watching our parents coexist and work all day but barely say hello. So Don't be surprised if someone ghosts you. It might be all that they know. But on some level, they know that it's wrong. So when they come back, hold them accountable. If they leave again, let them go. Because inconsistency can also be a power play. To them, this is a game of chess. So when they stay away, they wonder how long you'll wait before you make a move. But if I'm queen of the board, the only move I make may be away from you. Inconsistency can look like someone's secret desire not to have a relationship like their parents, traumatized by anger and resentment, so by default, they push you away, while deep down hoping you will stay, knowing they are emotionally closed off. So what happens if love comes along? Inconsistency might cost you something real. And the guilt of losing someone true is really hard to deal with, because if I am the truth, I may see this and be like, why you do that? Now I gotta fall back and act like I don't know you like that, because I've already seen the slip of your mask and your emotional code switch. But I don't switch up with my feelings. Either it is or it ain't. And I know that we all have complicated lives, so if you just talk to me, you might find that I'm understanding. But if you choose to hold back from me while holding on to me, then my toxic trait is keeping up conversation just to see why you would lie to me. And don't worry, it's not ammunition. Just confirmation from my intuition. I would never use it against you. But understand that I got a heart to protect too, so the moment you started acting funny, you became a case study. And as it relates to me, I will study everything from the way you move to the way you speak, and there is nothing more unattractive than inconsistency. I can only match your energy. So this is accountability. If you don't like it, maybe you aren't ready for anything real, just comfort and complacency. Just yes men and women who enable you to be less than you could be. And trust me, it is hard to look in the mirror and realize that we are our greatest source of toxicity, keyword we. So don't beat yourself up, because life had to beat me down and kick me a few times too, just to get me to wake up and see that my problem was me. I would enable the selfish ones. The ones who thought no one else's feelings mattered but their own. The ones who would disappear and come back like nothing was wrong. The ones who, after all that, would blame me for moving on. And I would clam up and say less, try to protect their hearts, or should I say egos. And then I got fed up. Realized basic communication really ain't that hard, and I went off, saying things like, does it upset you that I can express and you can't? Don't gaslight me because my existence makes you a nervous wreck. Stop projecting your insecurities on me because you can't be alone and I just want to move on. Trying to manipulate me to stay in your life is where you went wrong. So save your tears and don't cry to me now about not being brave enough to be enough, because you know what? I've had enough. But this isn't about them. This is about that full-blown scenario that goes on in our heads when we finally meet someone who gives us butterflies, but because of the past, inconsistent people in their lives, this new person is made to suffer. So we sit across from one another, waiting for the ball to drop. If you run, I'll think you're like the rest. If you wait for me to chase, you'll be waiting half past forever at best, and we will both just sit here locked in this insecurity thinking, if I let this go now, and it comes back to me, then it was meant to be, but this ain't the movies. So let's be real. If you come back to this space and we have yet to heal, the moment you flinch, it will trigger the abandonment in me. And no matter how valid your reason, I really hate that I will already be thinking, now why you do that? Now I'm gonna fall back, act like I never knew you like that, because inconsistency, I just can't do that. Thank you. All right, so this last piece, we all get triggered sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people think they know you like that, and you're like, no, you don't. So this piece is called A Hot Girl Summer after the Oscars. that. All right. Forgive me, but I'm still shocked by the things people have the audacity to say, like out loud, like unwarranted shots fired out of their mouths, like their brains couldn't work fast enough to keep their tongues from lashing out. So it caught me off guard when in the middle of friendly conversation, I was told, I guess you're just gonna have a mild girl summer, huh? To which I did a full 180 as if to ask why. I mean, on one hand, I was like, she didn't mean it. But on the other hand, I was like, sis, what was the reason? You don't even know me. The answer was negligible. And up until that point, I thought we were cool, but I now understood on some level, she thought I was a joke. So I said, well, don't underestimate me. My summer can be whatever I want it to be. And I can take a joke, but this really triggered me. As I clenched the hand of my 11-year-old self, consoled her through deja vu, and prepared us for battle with someone else's hollow truth. See, my brain keeps telling me I have met this bully before. At 11 and 18 and 27, and I refuse to take her into my 30s because what she doesn't know is that my 6th grade teacher taught me the art of suppression. This older girl decided to attack me during one of our lessons because I was nice. Because I had the nerve to be smart and fat and still have more friends than she had her entire life. Held back because she just couldn't get it right. So imagine being the tallest in the room and still no one is looking up to you. When the teacher mixed up our names, she decided to verbally abuse, pointing out my weight as a reason to assume that I was less than. She laughed when she said, Mrs. Shepherd. Now you know I ain't that one. How could you get us confused? And I tried to be invisible, but from that point forward, I was her favorite target at school as she navigated between being overly nice and extremely cruel. My teacher said, don't ever let her see you cry. That will just give her fuel. So that was when I learned that betraying myself could be a pretty good tool. I tied my angry 3-headed beast of resentment, embarrassment, and anxiety to a leash, and ever since, I try to protect nice, nasty women from the ugly that resides just beneath my peace. Yes, I know what you really mean. So, when I was told, you're probably just gonna have a mild girl summer, I nearly choked on that beast climbing up my throat, running full speed ahead to make up for the years of missed meals when I digested empty vessels instead, and he was starving. I nervously swallowed, like we all do, when we feel sick to our stomachs just trying to keep down our food, but I was trying to hold back from defending my truth because what she didn't know was that I was finally repairing my relationship with food. That I had shed 60 pounds of being insecure, that we found the real diagnosis to be an addiction to escapism from a really bad mood. What she didn't know was that I became a perfectionist, so everyone could look past the obvious. Yes, I know you see fact, but this is all the times I didn't fight back when I allowed food to muffle the words that should have been heard, and I don't sugarcoat my advice anymore. Just because you can see the consequence of mine doesn't mean you don't struggle with yours. Wow. What she didn't know is that I really am very elusive. It's just safer in this world full of illusions. But I stopped because looking at her was a lot like looking at me through a cracked mirror before I could actually see me. What she didn't know was that I was finally in this place of acceptance. And for her to tell me I can't have a hot girl summer was kind of bull. Respectfully. Come on. What I had to remember was that she doesn't really know me. And she is not my bully. And I've learned that no matter how similar two people may seem, if they meet in this space of vulnerability, one of them is bound to bleed because we morph into the very beast that we try to keep at bay. and to the people our monsters hand choose to keep us locked in place. And I don't know what personal hell she was locked in at the time. I just know I was finally coming up out of mine, leaving that beast down in the inferno. And as hungry as he was, I told him to heal. While we both went to heal, I found my last little bit of understanding, but forgive me, I am still shocked by the things people allow themselves to say out loud. But my emotions aren't their responsibility, and their pain isn't worth my dignity. And last I checked, it's getting hot outside. So if you will excuse me. Yeah.